Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is our fourth video in this series on calligraphy while we're in shutdown from the COVID virus this November and December. So hopefully not too far into December. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to review the capital letters. Yesterday, we did the capital letters, tracing them over a sheet that I had for you. You can see up here the tracing lines that for the small letters. Today, I would like to show you how they fit onto a lined sheet. And what I'd really like to do is have you either make another copy of a lined sheet, or what I have done in the past for years and years is put a white sheet over top of that, and you can see the lines coming through, which is what I usually do with students, so that you don't want your calligraphy, when you do your final calligraphy pieces, you don't want it on a lined sheet of paper because it looks like it's, kind of grade schoolish. So what we're going to do here is, I'd like to have you practice, but for the sake of you seeing what I'm doing, I'm going to forego the white sheet of paper over the top. All right, I'm going to go in a little bit closer, go in a little bit tighter. Yesterday I showed you how to do a couple of these letters with an A. I went through all the capital letters anyway, and I said that when you're looking at this sheets with the lines, the ascender is the top dotted line, the descender is the bottom dotted line, and then you have this double solid line here. And the capital letters, for the most part, are going to line up all the way across your page, right in between the dotted line at the top, the ascender, and then the top of the double solid line. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to work through these kind of quickly with you. Some of these videos are getting longer than I would like them to be. But with the capital A, I'd like to do a couple of these, and just to show you how this works. Again, so without tracing, it's going to start with this hook, and then come down at an angle, and then go fat, and then cross. Let's see if I can make this just a little bit bigger for you to see a little bit easier there. Okay, so again, hook. Now you can kind of just hook that up there, and you have to eyeball it between the top solid line and the dotted. Somewhere between the top double solid line and the ascender. I'll do one more. Here's your A. So now we're trying to freehand these. We're trying to do them without tracing. Okay, the B is going to start with a broken back, around and around. Broken back, around and around. Broken back, around and around. Here's your B. The C, it's just a wax on move. Capital C. The D is a broken back and then swings all the way around like that. Broken back, I put just a little bit of a curve to it. I call it a broken back just because it's got a little bit of a swing to it. It's not a straight line. There's your D. All right, starting over here with the next line, the E, broken back, 1, 2, 3. And each of those kind of flips up a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Notice again that I'm not going up to the ascender. I'm only going halfway between the double solid and the ascender there. Here's the E, because it's really important that you know what line you're on, so that when we start writing this out next week with writing assignments, then you'll know where to go. F, broken back, cross, cross. Broken back, cross, cross. Some people like to put a little bit at the bottom of it like that. That's fine. That's what you would like to do. E, F, G. The G is going to be a big wax on. And then it looks like a J form underneath it. Okay, so the G is going to be wax on, and then it's got a kind of a beard. Again, the capital G is one of my favorite letters. It's a lot of fun to do that, and it just looks good. It just looks kind of sharp there. I like that. H, now the H is the one letter. It's going to start like an A. The capital J too. But it's a letter that comes up. It does go up to the ascender up here. And you can make it fancy if you want to. You can keep it a little more humble if you want to. This capital letters you can do some different things with. H. All right. The I told you last time that the I, this is how they do it in the Chancery Italic book. That's the I. Looks a little bit like a J. You could do it like that. I tend to teach it this way. I tend to go more with a Roman. I know that's not exactly proper, but it makes it a little bit easier to read. The J. Now, the capital J is going to start up here, and it's going to swing all the way down to a descender. The capital J is a very long letter. Not as long as a small f, but quite a long letter. K is going to come, it's going to hook up like the A. This hook move and down you see in a lot of capital letters. And then after you do them a couple times, I'm going to do 3 of them here. After you do them a couple times, they get a little bit easier. Okay, so there's your K. The L is going to start kind of a little bit like the small L, backwards, and then it comes and has a big foot on the bottom of it. There's your capital L. Backwards, down, over. Backwards, down, over. There's your L. M starts like the A with a hook, skinny, fat, skinny, fat, and up. The M is a pretty big letter. Skinny, fat, and up. I just did 2 of them. That's good. The N. The N is going to start the same way. It's going to start with this big hook move, and then fat, and then skinny. There's your N. Hook, skinny, fat, skinny. Hook, skinny, fat, skinny. There's your N. Again, not going up to the ascender. It only goes halfway up there. The capitals are not as large as the ascenders. LMNO. The O is a wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. I'm going a little quicker today because we went through these yesterday. This is a review. This time we're trying to do them without tracing. I'm trying to do all of them yourself. The P, broken back, and then hook. Sometimes people like to put a little foot underneath it. That's fine. You want it a little fancier. Back, around. Broken back, around. LMNOP. The Q is like an O with a squiggly coming out of it. Wax on, wax off, squiggle. Wax on, wax off, squiggle. Wax on, wax off, squiggle. There's the Q. A lot different than the small Q. R is going to look like this. Broken back, flip it around just like the P, and then you're going to put a foot down at the bottom of it. It's going to come back out. There's your R. See if I can fit 2 more of them in there. Sometimes people like to do much larger letters. Sometimes people like to do smaller. Sometimes it depends. Sometimes it depends on how much room you have on the page, like that one I just kind of snuck in. Kind of depends on that. QRS, starting on the next line. Again, not going up to the ascender, just part way there. QRS. The T, broken back, cross. Broken back, cross. Put in the backbone, cross. Because it's not a broken back, it's just a kind of a squiggly back. And there's some people who like to put a little foot on the bottom of the T also. Down here, if you want to do that, you can. If you do it too big, it'll look like an I. Curious T U, right? The U is going to go hook, down, up, down, up. Again, not up to an ascender, not going that high. Here we go again. Hook, down, up, down, up. Hook, down, up, down, up. This will be the last time I'll practice the capitals with you. We don't use them that often. I like to spend a little bit more time working on the small letters. S-T-U-V, hook, fat, skinny. Hook, fat, skinny. Hook, fat, skinny. There's the V. The W is just two of those. Hook, fat, skinny, fat. How do I want to end this? I'll end it like this. Skinny. Hook, fat, skinny, fat. This one I'm going to come up to an ascender just because I feel like it. There you go. You could do that with a W if you want it to be a little bit more powerful, a little more pizzazz in that. W, X. All right, coming over here to the X, you're going to go right, fat, right, left, skinny, left. Right, fat, right, left, skinny, left. Right, fat, right, left, skinny, left. X. The Y. Hook, down and up, just like the U. Just like the U that we did right there. And then it's going to come down and then to a descender. One of the few letters that has a descender in the capitals. Take it down to a descender. Y. And then one of the easiest letters to do, the Z, you're going to go right, zip, right. Right, zip, right. Right, zip, right. Okay. So now what I'd like to do, we went through those very quickly. Now what I'd like to do is show you some spacing rules. Once we did the capitals and we went through those twice, now I would like to show you some spacing things. All right, so I'm going to put this whole sheet on there. Let's go just slightly bigger so I can see the whole sheet. There we go. All right, you can just barely see the margins on either side. Now, the rule here with the spacing is that you want to leave about the space of an O, like this, between your words. Because if you space your words too close together, it's going to look just like letter forms. So after we get the letter forms down of the capitals, which we have done, all right, working through the capitals and the small letters, the small letters and the capitals, now it's time to start writing things. And one of the first things that I like students to write is their own name. Now you have to be careful, don't misspell your name. It's easy to do when you're doing it in calligraphy because you're so concerned about trying to get it right. So my name is Jeffrey, so I'm going to write Jeffrey Bolzman across here. You could even put your middle name in there if you would like. So here's the kind of thing with this. I'm going to start with this. The J does not go up to an ascender. The J is going to come up to about here. So here's my capital J, and it's going to come down to a descender. Then I'm going to put in E. Now when I put the E in here, I need to space it so that it's close enough to the J to look like a word. I don't want to put the E way over here, but I also don't want it to touch. So I have to think about my E for a second. My E is going to be a wax on, wax off move. So there's my E. And it kind of kicked up like that. Let me make this a little bit bigger so that you can see it easier. There we go. That's too big. It gets going and then it keeps going. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we line that up. This is going to kick up. My next letter is going to be an F. Now I have to think about it a second. The F is going to come up to an ascender and go down to the descender. And I want it close enough here so that it will fit. So I have to go backwards, down, backwards, cross. Backwards, down, backwards, cross. Because I have two F's, J, E, F, F, R. So this R is this little letter that comes up and it goes R. Notice there's just a little bit of room between these. Sometimes you can even take this E and run it into the F. J, E, F, F, R, E. Now the E is a wax on, wax off, and then a Y. The Y comes up, down, and over. We haven't done those capitals in a little, or the small letters in a little bit. So I'm going back and kind of looking at those again. So that's Jeffrey. My middle name is Kenneth. I'm going to put that in here too. Now the whole idea, I'm going to grab a pencil. The whole idea is if I don't want to start my capital K right here, because that will be way too close. You won't be able to read it. So you want to leave the space of about an O, like that. So then K, how does my capital K go again? It starts out with a little hook and down, and then kicks in and kicks out. K, E. You see how that K comes right into that E? That's kind of nice. And then I have an N and kicks up, and the N kicks up. And when they kick up, they look like they connect together. K-E-N-N-E. You see how this part of the E connects to that N? K-E-N-N-E, then a T. H. Kenneth was my father's name. I'm gonna fix that. Jeffrey, Kenneth. Now, I'm going to erase this out of there so that that looks better. All right, so now I'm going to zoom out so you can see the rest of it. So as I put in Bolzman, B-O-L-Z-M-A-N, I need to have a little bit more space. You say, what? You have to think about every word like that? Well, after a bit, you kind of get the hang of it. I'm going to put another O here in pencil so I can erase it. The B is going to start with a backbone. Remember, the B doesn't go up to the ascender. B, O, wax on, wax off. L, Z, M, A, N. There we go. And then you can erase this out of here. That works pretty well. So that's how you can space words. If you write out something like it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas or something like that, that works out pretty good. I'm just going to write next underneath here. You could write out your name a couple times, would be good, like 3, 4. And then I'm just going to write here, Merry Christmas. M, E, R, R, Mary. I'm going to leave some space there. Now, I'm not going to put an O in there. I'm just going to leave some space, about an O. So Merry Christmas. And you could even write out, and Happy New Year. I know it's a little early, but it's okay. Happy. Let's go down to the next row. Maybe I'm going to put it right here. New year. Leave a space. You have to think about this stuff a little bit. You have to plan it in your head. If you want to write and put in an O in there in pencil, that's okay. There. So you could start to write some small sayings. You could start to write out some quotes or some lines or some musical verses and things like that as practice. That's what I would really like you to do tomorrow, is start to write out words. Write your name 3 to 5 times. Write out Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Write out a line to a song. Start to practice some words, and then next week, I'm not going to make another video for this week, but next week, we're going to start to work on add elegant details to every wedding invitation, and we're going to look at the Pledge of Allegiance, which we will do in calligraphy, and then hopefully after that, we will be back in class again. If not, we'll continue in Zoom. We'll see how it goes. So thank you so much. Hope this was helpful, and practice your letter forms, your smalls and your capitals, and your spacing now that you have that also. Thanks.